When treating the pages of the article Ain't Got Nobody for my version of a human myth, I focused on the topics of love, heartbreak, depression, and loneliness. I found that these were the most prominent aspects of the article, as well as the movie Her. To express the meaning of the text, I used several methods to create an illustration. I used watercolor, acrylic paint, and colored pencils. I also relied on ink from pens to bring attention to some of the multiple reading paths. Some technological additions were included to improve the quality of each page. Duh, Don't Fall in Love, Lonely Man, Ramped Up Female, Surprisingly Intimate Love. This is just one reading path that is available for this image. It can also be read several different ways because there are several different reading paths that can be took. I wanted to focus on this part of the image for this slide. Duh, Don't Fall in Love. This is why I chose to draw the picture of the broken heart, because it's like if you fall in love, your heart will get broken, and the duh just makes it seem like obvious. I wanted to focus on this part of the image because this is a possible reading path. Duh, Lonely Man, Ramped Up Female, Love. This shows a happier, outcome than the original. Ruthless Human Connections. Bruising, Painful, Alone, Friend. Addicted, Perpetrator, Psycho, Gentle Humans. This reading path allows an individual to understand and interpret the feelings of depression and loneliness this individual feels. I blacked out the eyes of the individual to show the emptiness that he feels. I wanted to focus on the face of the individual because of the eyes, and it shows that the individual is crying. The placement of the word perpetrator is very important because either this individual was labeled as a perpetrator or he represents a perpetrator. I cropped the image down to the top and the bottom. The top it says bruising, painful, alone, friend. And I just thought that I used the fingerprints at the bottom of the image to show how these interactions were weighing down on this particular individual. Falling in love, connection, sympathetic, erotic, physical love. Don't fall in love, doubtful, moralizing. I chose to illustrate the fire because it represented the words erotic, physical love. And this shows what it feels like to be in love. Crop this image down to this section because I thought this was a great example of how multiple reading paths can change the meaning of the text. If you read it the proper way, it says falling in love, connection, sympathetic, erotic, physical love. When you read it in a nonlinear fashion, it reads love, physical, erotic, sympathetic, connection, falling in love, and it changes the meaning. Cropping the images down like this, I wanted to show that love can be doubtful and moralizing, which is why one should not fall in love, which is this particular reading path. I wanted to focus on the flames that I illustrated at the bottom of the page, as well as the burnt corners of the page to emphasize the meaning of this particular section. Seduction, jealousy. Seduction, jealousy, shared by thousands, irrepressible ways, seduced and abandoned, break up, dry up, expire. This extension of the text shows the effects love has on the scale, pace, and patterns of our lives. In this close-up of the image, I wanted to focus on this particular reading passage. Break up, dry up, and expire is one way to read this. Or you could read it as expire, dry up, break up. And I think both of these ways have very different meanings behind them. Reading it from top to bottom, break up, dry up, expire. I feel like that means after you break up, then you just kind of like get over it, when reading it the other way, I think it's more like you. In this view of the image, I wanted to focus on the word seduced and abandoned, but I also wanted it to have a good view of the rose in the background. I feel like the rose is a good representation of these words because it's the flower was like flowers are picked to be admired, but whenever they begin to wilt and die, then they are abandoned. Physical solitude, depressed, lonely, craves relationship, complains, unable to meet needs of others, selfish desires. These close-ups, I wanted to focus on the terms physical solitude, lonely, depressed, selfish desires, which is why I ended up drawing the picture of the man, because he just seems depressed and lonely and has selfish desires, which is one message that could come from this reading path. Giveth, taketh away, lack of confidence, suspicion, manipulation of desires, blame, condemn, damning, defiled innocence. I really like this reading path because of the manipulation of desires and condemned. I thought this was a really deep message. This close-up of the image focuses on the hand, showing like the puppeteer type thing, showing the manipulation of the brain. And the words right here, manipulation of desire. This was, I thought, one of the most important parts of this page. I like this part because it gave a whole new meaning when you read this particular reading path. Giveth, taketh, lack of confidence, blame, condemned, defiled innocence. Or you could read it the other way as well, which would give new meaning to the whole entire treated page.